Hey parents, tonight's study link 4.4, which is over adding and subtracting fractions. The mixed numbers is one that I think would really benefit from you doing with your kid at home, and we have the whole weekend, so hopefully that helps. I'm going to walk you through it here so you kind of know how to help walk your kid through it at home. Number one says, in a national test, 8th grade students answered the problem shown in the top of the table at the right. Also shown are the 5 possible answers they were given and the percent of students who chose each answer. So the question is, estimate the answer to 12/13 plus 7/8. You will not have enough time to solve the problem using paper and pencil. So basically we're estimating. The 5 answers they could have put were 1, 2, 19, 21, or I don't know, and then you can see the percentages there. So you can see that most of the people chose C, then D, then B. Some people didn't know, and very few chose 1. Question A asks, what mistake do you think the students who chose C made? So we have to look at people chose 19 and then look up here and say, why would they have chosen 19? And hopefully what your kids can pick out is that they just added the numerators together. 12 plus 7 is 19, and just saw that and quickly moved on that. So an explanation for this one would be that they just added the numerators and didn't consider the denominators. B will be explain why B is the best estimate, and 2 is the right answer, and the reason because of that is 12/13 is very close to 1, and 7/8 is also very close to 1. So if we rounded both those to the nearest whole number, they'd obviously be 1 and 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. And so that's what that question was kind of trying to have students see. Problem number 2 says a board is 6 3/8 inches long. Verna wants to cut enough so that it will be 5 1/8 inches long. How much should she cut? This is just a mixed number subtraction problem that we worked on in class today. So we'd be doing 6 3/8 minus 5 1/8. And the way we taught them is to subtract the fractions first. So 3 minus 1 will be 2/8. 6 minus 5 will be 1, and then we have to look at, can we cut those in half? And yes, we can. That could be 1 and that could be 4. So our answer should be 1 1/4. And they put unit here to remind you to say 1 1/4 what? It would be 1 1/4 inches. Number 3, Tim is making paper mache. Never would have guessed it was spelled like that. The recipe calls for 1 3/4 cup of paste. Using only half cup, fourth cup, and 1/3 cup measures, how can he measure the correct amount? So this is very real world as far as a problem that you've probably run into in the kitchen before. Basically what they're asking us to do is break this down into segments of 1/2, 1/4, or 1/3. And they hopefully should realize that the 1 could be done with 2 1/2 cups. And then for the 3/4 cup, they just have to know that 1/2 is equal to 2/4. So if they do 1 more 1/2 cup and then 1 1/4 cup, that should get them there. So 3 half cups and 1 1/4 cup would get them to 1 3/4 cup. And what they write here I don't care how it's written. Well, what I really want to know is that they can explain that in their own words some way. Add or subtract, write your answers as mixed numbers in simplest form. Show your work on the back of the page or wherever they have room. The back should be blank, so that should help. Use number sense to check whether each answer is reasonable. So the way that we taught these is to rewrite them vertically. So off to the side here, I'm going to do the first one, which is 3 1/4 plus 1 1/4. And again, add the fractions first, and then the whole numbers, and then we can rewrite. Well, this one we don't have to rewrite, we just have to simplify. We can cut that in half and that in half, so we'd have 4 1/2. 4 1/2 for the first one. The second one, I'll be interested to see how well the kids do at explaining these to you. We have 4 minus 2 1/4, and we taught them to think of this as 4 0/4. And then how can we rewrite this? Because we can't do 0 minus 1. So what they should be able to tell you is that 4 0/4 can be written as 3 plus 1, or it could also be 3 plus 4/4. So then when we come back up and consider what we're actually subtracting, we would cross this out and we would do 3 4/4 minus 2 1/4. And now we can subtract. 4 minus 1 is 3/4. 3 minus 2 is 1. So 1 3/4 would be the answer. Last one, 1 2/3 plus 2/3. We have 1 2/3 plus 2/3. Maybe add in that 0 just so they know what they're adding. 2 plus 2 is 4/3. 1 plus 0 is 1. And then kind of the reverse of what we taught them to do here, we want to look at 1 4/3 as, and pardon me while I scooch over here, as 1 plus 3/3 plus 1/3. So you can see the 4/3 is there, and then we can rewrite this as 1 plus 1 plus 1/3, which is where we get our answer of 2 1/3. Circle the numbers that are equivalent to 2 3/4. Well, if we rewrite this, again, this would be 1 plus 4/4 plus 3/4, or 1 plus 1 plus 3/4, or 2 3/4, so that would be 1. 6/4 would be 4/4 plus 2/4, which would be 1 1/2, so that's not 1. 3/7 is pretty clearly not 1. Then 11/4 we could write as 4/4 plus 4/4 plus 3/4, because we'd have 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 3 more is 11, so this will be 1 plus 1 plus 3/4, so again 2 3/4. So the 2 we would circle will be the first one and the last one. For the practice, they don't have to solve it mentally. What I'd rather have them do is explain to you how they could make the problem easier than just doing the natural logarithm for it. So for instance, you might say 5 times 20 is 100. 5 times 2 is 10, so this is 10 less than 100. So maybe I'll take some notes about that. So 5 times 20 is 100. 5 times 2 is 10, and using those two to figure out what 18 will be, because 20 minus 2 is 18. Again, here they might do 40 times 6 and know that that's just 240 because it's 6 times 4 with a 0. And then 6 times 1 would just be 6, and they could add those two together. 9 times 50 and 9 times 2, they could use those two facts to help solve this one. And then 7 and 45, you could do it, there's a few different ways you could do it. You could do 7 times 50 minus 7 times 5, or you could do 7 times 40 plus 7 times 5. I just would like the kids to explain to you how they could attack those problems other than just lining them up and solving them. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions this weekend. Thanks.